Hi there, Pastor Lanre here. Welcome to another exciting episode of Pastor Lanre Uncensored. Today, I want to discuss something that I think is very important. In fact, if you're looking for a topic, it is simply undeserving. You know, a few years ago, I had to deal with a situation where a lady walked into my office and she was in tears and all over the place. And what was the issue? The person that she loved had just asked for her hand in marriage and she had responded no. And the question is, why would you say no? And she told me, Pastor, honestly, I do not see how a guy like him can truly and really love a girl like me. This becomes important because when people take this kind of perception into their marriage, it ultimately affects the dynamics of the marriage. So I want to speak to that today. What makes us feel undeserving? But before we go into it, please let's spend this time in worship with the anointed Promise Francis.
You reign, Jesus reign, oh King of Zion, King of Zion, oh Jesus Lion, you reign, Jesus reign, He's the King of Zion. You reign, God. Yes, you reign. Yes, you reign. Yes, you reign. Yes, you reign. You reign. Yes, you reign. In all the earth. Yes, you reign, God. Yes, you reign. Yes, you reign. Yes, you reign.
All right, welcome back. Wasn't that such a powerful time with the incredible Promise Francis? Promise, anointed chap. Anyways, back to the issue today. So, what is this thing that makes certain people feel like they are not deserving of love? Or they don't deserve to be in certain environments, or they are not qualified to walk in certain circles. To help me discuss it today, all the ways from the city of Benin, I have a friend and a co-laborer in the vineyard. He's the set man over House on the Rock, Benin City. And I'm talking about none other than the absolutely phenomenal preacher par excellence. These guys gave me a run for my money when they were in my city. And I'm talking about Pastor Emmanuel Akikobam. Pastor Emmanuel, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Nice.
Welcome. Good to have you in the city. You know, this is the kind of thing that they say that you don't come to the house of the elder and just go like that without doing something. So welcome.
Thank you.
Let me open by saying this. What are the things It's interesting how when we want to marry or we're seeking for a partner, how we have all these parameters of what we expect. We have all these things we're looking out for in the person that we want, in the significant other, the person we want to be with. So I'm going to put you on the spot. So tell me, Pastor Manuel, for you as a person, what do you find more attractive? A beautiful body or a beautiful personality? What is it for you?
I wasn't aware of what the criteria was till I got married, and later on I realized in years in marriage that, okay, there's some qualities that do it for me. But I think before I got married, and even in marriage, I think the biggest quality was that I wanted a friend. I wanted someone that I could relate with. Oh yes, we will get to the beauty part and all of that. Very important. But I think most critical for me, I'm a mind person. If I don't connect with you,
But Pastor Manuel, this is the frustration I have with talking to men like you. Because people make the rest of us feel like we're very carnal and we don't know what we're doing. But see the way it works. If the package is not attractive, why bother with the mind?
True.
I mean, we have to knock on the door before we open the door.
Agreed. Like I said, there's some things I didn't know till I got into marriage. So it was in marriage that I now realized that I actually had a spec.
So you did not know the spec
I didn't know
until...
the spec then. I guess I was just blinded by love. I didn't know the
All
spec.
right, great stuff. What I have learned is this, in counseling many married people, especially a lot of freshly married people, is people basically fall into two categories. They are the ones that fall into the I'm all about the body. And then there are those that are I'm all about the mind and the personality and all of that. If there was going to be a battle between beauty and personality, who do you think will win?
Beauty. Instagram is just a proof. It's just waiting for you. It's just a proof that beauty would. And beauty does not mean that the mind is not there.
Precisely. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So for you, in a tussle between beauty and personality, for you, beauty wins.
No, for me, the mind. The mind. But I have big eyes for good reasons. I still think that there has to be a balance, but really for me, it's the mind.
All right. From experience, from counseling, from study, whenever there is this thin contest between beauty and personality, the truth, especially in the context of marriage, no, I'm not talking about attraction now. In the context of marriage, the truth is that personality always wins. You know why? Because of that singular quality or attribute of beauty, which is it fades with time.
Yeah.
And personality can be evergreen in the way it manifests. So over time, people have to, in fact, as you grow older, beauty begins to take a lower space in your in your steps of the things that are important. Because after a while, there are other things that become important. All right. So let's talk about this thing. In your experience, why do you think people feel they don't deserve to be loved?
Many reasons, but
because it's such a big issue. I'm someone who tries to study the force of perception a lot, because I realize that perception can be realer, if there is a word like that, than reality at times, and it can be stronger than reality. And at times, if perception is wrong, it affects how people go into their marriages, and it even shapes the dynamics of that marriage. So I just wanted to ask you, why do people think that they don't deserve to be loved? Why on earth would anybody think they don't deserve to be loved?
Apart from the love of God, love for another woman to a large extent, is earned.
Is earned. Wow. Unpack that because I'm trying to
Because
understand.
apart from God that loves us, in fact, He had to love us first. From that love, He loved us with. We took some and loved Him back. But for every other person, and that's just like respect, just like trust, it has to be earned. But like what you asked, why do people struggle with that? I think for our generation, my generation, generations before mine, this part of the world, we were starved of motivation. And I would say in the sense that we're hardly made to feel that we were special. I mean, we are the ones that tell our kids, I love you and all of that, you know, or you can make it, you can do it. So over time, I think people were starved of being motivated. So that they were programmed to see themselves as worthless.
Wow. Okay.
So that, and then depending on how life swings their way, they keep finding something to justify that they are worthless. You meet someone, and then if you say if it's wealth, okay, I'm not wealthy, that's strike. I'm not tall, that's strike. I'm not light-skinned, that's strike. We program somewhat to find something to disqualify us.
Whew. Okay. You've heard it from the horse's mouth. Well, from Pastor Emmanuel's mouth. So really, self-perception goes a long way in determining whether you feel that you are deserving of love, or whether you feel you're deserving of respect, or whether you feel you're deserving to be treated in a particular way. And that is quite instructive. Because it makes me remember all this talk about self-esteem and all the things we need. And one of the things I say to people is, when you stand in front of the mirror, who do you see? Because who you see in the mirror is going to reflect on how you carry yourself in any kind of relationship. So the truth is that who do you see in the mirror? You know, I have realized that when we stand in front of the mirror and our self-evaluation falls below our desired expectations, we somehow adjust our sense of value.
True.
If I stand in front of the mirror and I'm thinking I'm not good enough, suddenly, almost unwittingly, I begin to think that, okay, certain things I qualify for and certain things I do not qualify for. You know, if you're watching, listen to me. Self-esteem basically stands on three legs, which is being loved, being accepted, and the feeling of adequacy. Being loved, being accepted, and the feeling of adequacy. When you find these three in a person, that person most likely will have a very healthy self-esteem. If they know that they are loved by God, they are loved by peers, they're loved by friends, they're loved by family, and they have self-love, a healthy dose of self-love, and they accept themselves. First of all, they understand that God accepts them, and they accept themselves. And that feeling of I am enough goes a long way. A long way. You know, but the fact that all of this is there makes you want to ask the question, why do we feel small? You know, in my job, we're both pastors and we preach. And both of us have gone to conferences where we felt like carpenters that were invited to to conference of neuroscientists. The people that spoke so eloquently, spoke at a level, spoke at such depth that we all walked out of there feeling, if they call pastors in this place, I will not, in good conscience, I will not be able to say, I am a pastor. I'll probably say I'm an usher or the security guard. In fact, I just followed someone here. And I realized that we feel that way because in the journey of life, you're going to find people whose gifts are so prodigious. Their gifts are just so out there that it can make you feel like what you have is not good enough. Do you want to speak to that?
Still goes back to self-esteem. Pastor Lanre, there are players that, let me use football for a bit. There are players that were so good in West Ham.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I hear you.
They were the heart of the team.
They were the player.
Take them to Real Madrid, and you will hear people say, this person is not a Real Madrid material.
Wow.
Because that's just life. There are going to be people that are better than you. There are going to be people that have achieved a whole lot more than you, so they have consequently more confidence to address certain things than you. But I think what helps is that, like you said, you have to have love for yourself. You have to have enough in your hard drive, enough of you saying to yourself, you're good enough.
So inadvertently, what you're saying is the fact that I find someone that is more skillful than me, or someone that is more beautiful than me, or someone that is way better looking than me, or someone that is better at something than me, should not make me think less of myself.
I think
does that even happen in reality?
It happens because
when you find someone that's really good at something that makes you feel ordinary, is it even possible not to feel less?
It's not possible. Ronaldo can be all that he is on the football pitch and go for an advert shoot, and for some reason, if there's a Washington is on that same set.
Okay, so it depends on. Okay, I get what you're saying.
But you have to come back to, have you heard from your own self adequately enough? A lot of times you telling yourself, "I'm good, I'm okay," because when these moments come, that seems to balance.
That becomes your buffer. All right. So when I find people that are better at stuff than me, because at times I hear these guys and I hear them preach.
No, that's reverse. Like I'm here now, I'm just feeling oppressed. It's natural.
I hear them preach, and I'm telling myself, oh God, help this old man. They make me feel whole. They make me feel old. All right. So I get what you're saying. So when we come across people who are better at something, it should not be a reason why we feel that we are less. And I like to say this also. At times some of us even feel that we are very skilled at certain things, and we have a lot of confidence when we want to do when we want to do those things. Have you ever felt you were really good at something, and then you were given a chance to do the thing and you bungled the thing?
Severally.
Because these things happen in life, and I'm using all these other experiences so that we can address the fundamental of why people feel undeserving of love or undeserving of respect. I used to think that I was a talker and I could talk, and I have a bit of oratory prowess. But then I hear certain speakers. Whew!
Like Pastor Paul.
Don't even go there.
Don't
go there. Don't. No, Pastor Paul is too far. I'm looking for somebody closer to me. And you hear some of these guys, and their vocabulary, their use of words, their verbiage, the way they put their words together, their ability to say things, and you get light immediately. You are not confused. They're able to articulate, and you don't find yourself in that space of ambiguity.
There's something he said to me that I've held strongly for many years. And so there's something he said that that's what you've learned over time to give your best. Your best may be 40% at a moment, but trust me, at that time, that's your best.
All right.
So when you give that best consistently, you will know that some days it gets as to be. It's low, but what happens if it's your best consistently? You would have more better days.
I hear you. You know why I wanted to talk about this is simply because many of us, before we married, we thought we were going to make great parents and great spouses. I remember I used to brag to my friends that any girl that marries me Jackpot. I mean, what else would it? Long story short, it wasn't exactly how it played out. And there's someone who's watching right now. You went into a relationship feeling you got this. You know how to be a partner. You know how to be a supportive helpmeet. You know how to do this. And in practice, you are finding that you are struggling. Please understand. After you have done all, stand therefore. That's all I'm going to say to you. When you have given your best, there's nothing else to give. And this is critical. For all of us, there are things that happen that shakes our confidence. There are things that happen that reveals that we probably don't know as much as we think we do. That shows that there are things that we need to learn to be better at what we are doing. And it is the same for relationships. There are women who enter, who say, what else will he be looking for? Be careful. Now you are in the relationship, now you are in the marriage, you are realizing that you are struggling with the feelings of not being enough. So the issue now is, what are you going to do when you have to deal with those kind of feelings? Let me quickly talk to couples. And I've written a few things down. And this is what I say. For husbands, should your wife feel less because she doesn't know how to cook like your mother? Is it enough to make her feel like she doesn't know what she's doing? Or to the wife, is your husband less of a man or less of a husband because he's not as handy around the house like your father was? Should that be the case? Should your wife feel less because she cannot tidy the house or decorate it the way your neighbor's wife does? Or to the wife, should your husband feel less because he doesn't make as much money as your ex? Should a wife feel less just because she's struggling with conception? Or should the husband feel less because they are walking through a health situation? Well, I think the answer is no. We should not define our partners by their weaknesses. Pastor Emmanuel, I want you to jump in there. Very often in marriages, we find this space where people judge their partners by their weaknesses. Do you want to say something to those kind of people?
Before I got married, my father came to my house for a period, and he saw how I arranged my things, and he asked me, "Are you sure?" Because I was about to get married in a few months. "Are you sure this girl will be able to stay with you?" And it was shocking for me. But over time, and then knowing her then as my fiancée, that she wasn't as organized. But over time, I look at my house now, and really the house sometimes is... I have realized that my tolerance level has
grown.
Because as much as I want to be comfortable, it's also my responsibility to try to make the other person...
Word! You now, can say that again.
Would I be successful? We don't know, but we'll try. But the responsibility to try, it's a responsibility. You don't have to bring someone's weakness and remind the person because you also have yours. I don't know what people look at marriage, and people think marriage should be perfect. It's not. There's something that's been trending recently, entanglement and all of that. And I tell them, okay, can you take the characters out of it and deal with what the experience? Is it really an issue? I mean, someone is saying, you go get happy, the other person go get happy. I can't be responsible for your happiness. The other person says that. And then we come together, and we're not putting each other on unnecessary pressure. Why? Why do you want someone's weakness? I don't think anybody deserves to, particularly if you're staying in the same house with someone, constantly being reminded. Some things won't just improve.
All right. In addition to that, let me quickly add this. You see, it is what you choose to focus on. The weaknesses are there. and it doesn't mean that the person will not strive to change, to improve, to develop in that area. But instead of constantly focusing on their weakness, I think it is imperative for couples to focus on each other's strengths. Whatever you focus on becomes more magnified. And you can focus on their strength to this extent where the weakness loses its ability to upset you, because you're so focused on their strengths. Because before people get married, they looked at each other and they decided that this person is enough for me. This person will contribute their quota in making me happy. When I'm with this person, I will find fulfillment, I will find joy, I will find the truest expression of myself. So when things happen in the marriage, it is important that we don't focus on their weakness. This is important because at times, some of the weaknesses we even see in the marriage is born out of inadequacies of singleness, or that were there when we were single, of singlehood, as it were. You will feel undeserving of a good marriage if you are inadequate as a single person. So I always advise, try and deal with the issues of inadequacies of being accepted and being loved before you get into the marriage. Because this is the reason why some people enter very unhealthy marriages, or they just choose to remain unmarried. I mean, I've seen beautiful young women who said to me, Pastor, I don't want to marry. I don't think anybody has what it takes to marry me. I'm not that good. And it always breaks my heart because inadvertently they have denied someone their helpmeet on that person's journey to destiny. I was studying and some things came up. These things that make us feel we don't deserve certain people. So it's possible for the guy. No, guys are not that. The guys are not that good. I wanted to say it's very possible for the guy who was very loose, who sowed all kinds of oats in all kinds of fields, to feel like they don't deserve a girl who's been very good. But guys are not like that. I think it works better.
You can forget.
I think it works better the other way around, where a girl who's been everywhere feels like they don't deserve a guy who's kept themselves together. It's the same thing. People without formal education can feel like they don't deserve people with formal education. Another one is people from humble backgrounds at times struggle to interact or deal with people from wealthier backgrounds. Yes. I needed to check my note for that. At times, people from broken homes just feel that they're going to have an issue if they marry someone who came from a proper home. I'm trying to think of all the different scenarios of people feeling unworthy of certain kinds of people. It's interesting that some will not even consider marriage. Won't even until they have attained a certain level of financial.
I've heard someone say that.
Don't even.
Unless I'm financially stable to an extent, I won't.
But the problem I have with that is in this world where the standards of success keeps changing, how much will you have to feel that you're successful? How much really do you need to have to feel like you're successful? Let's close this thing. Pastor Emmanuel, I want to speak to this. If I look in the mirror and honestly, sincerely, what I see is an underachiever. I look in the mirror and sincerely, I project, and in 20 years, I'm not, you know how you have all these exercises they have you do, and when you go for certain courses, like, okay, project. Can you see yourself 20 years from now? What will you be doing? Who will you be? It's possible that someone looks at where they are now and really, really cannot see how things can change dramatically in 20 years. If I look in the mirror, what I see is an underachiever. What can I do?
In relation to wanting to get married to somebody?
Yes.
No, that's tough. because 20 years is a long time. And I can't help but say, relate it back to God, because I believe that people watching are Christians, and you will be doing yourself a great injustice if you look at yourself in the mirror and God is not in that mirror.
Woo! Preach, brother.
You would honestly, that's left for unbelievers. That's their reality. That's all that they know. But for a Christian to do that, that's a great disservice. So now you look at yourself in the mirror, the natural mirror, and then God also is in that mirror. The story may begin with you seeing no way out, but with God in that mirror. A few things, a few interjections. But Noah found grace out of nowhere. Just something good. This is how I see it. I can't help. It will start sad.
The
like
truth
Hollywood movies, it has to be somewhere.
The truth is, I know that you didn't look into my notes. Yeah. I'm very certain. I know you didn't look into my notes, and I know I didn't discuss this particular point with you. So it's almost annoying that you use the word grace. You know, this is important for anyone who feels inadequate, who feels like they don't feel like they are enough. If I'm going to give you a counsel, it is trust the grace of God. You know why? Because one of the qualities of grace is it qualifies and justifies the undeserving.
Amazing grace.
It qualifies and justifies the undeserving. You know, a sense of adequacy really basically stems from a sense of I can perform. It's performance-based. So if I cannot perform, I feel I am inadequate. But grace is that interjection that balances the equation in your favor. So if you're listening today, and whether it is concerning your career, or concerning business, or concerning relationship or marriage, and you feel undeserving, and this is where we're going to close today, trust God's grace. It has that special ingredient that qualifies and justifies the undeserving. I believe that you've learned something today, and until we come your way again, thank you very much, Pastor Emmanuel. Thank you very much for sharing with us on this episode of Pastor Lanre Uncensored. Until I come your way again, keep keeping on and be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. Enjoy the rest of your day.